think was driving you like what was there like any do you have any demons? What was driving you to the excess and to the self-destructive behavior? Do you think it was just that you liked to party and have fun? Was there insecurities behind it? Was there something you were trying to prove, or did you just get addicted? It was just like one foot in front of the other. What was it?
Well, I had a really hard childhood because I was raised by my parents that came from Mexico, and they taught me Spanish. So Spanish was my first language.
Okay.
And I grew up in the ghetto. We had shootings and drug dealers, and so my parents decided to send me to Granada Hills because it was a better area. So I used to take the school bus, and I was so attached to my parents. They were overprotective. That's how Latino families are. And I take the bus, and as soon as I get inside the bus, I start crying, and then these bullies get me on the headlock, and they're like, "You fucking Mexican kid," and blah, and we had we had black people, Asian people, and us Mexicans, or not Mexicans, but Hispanics,
Latino,
and,
yeah.
But then we get to Granada Hills to the school, and this school is like 90, like no kidding, like 97% white, and then like 3% minorities. And I'm one of the 5 little Mexican kids, Hispanic kids. I always Mexican.
Yeah.
But I'm one of the Hispanic kids. I speak no English.
You spoke no English?
No English.
How old were you?
Like 6, 7 years old. Because I started going to Granada Hills from the first grade. So the first grade I get there, and back then there was some racism going on. I get off the school bus, and I see I've never seen white people. So I'm like who are these people? And then they're like talking to me and I feel like you're talking to me in Chinese right now, right? I don't understand it. I'm like,
Can't believe it. Wow, you were born in the United States?
Yes, I was born here, but it was almost like I was born in Mexico. Like I'm really Mexican. I'm a Mexican, but I get there, and then they think I'm not that well. They think something's wrong with me. So first they put me on a special ed class, because they think something's wrong with me. That I have some sort
you
of
don't speak English.
deficiency.
What's wrong?
So then they figured out, wait, he's actually, the problem is that he doesn't speak English. So then they put me on ESL class. So then I grow up, and they call me wetback, wetback, go back to Mexico, you don't belong here.
Really?
Yeah, like my whole elementary school. So what does that do? That made me really tough. That made me fight. I had to fight, or I was gonna die and fall. So I go through that elementary school. I learn English, and then I start getting. I still have a huge accent. So then I get to middle school. Then people are making fun of my accent, and then I start getting pimples, and they start making fun of my pimples, my accent, and all that stuff. I couldn't get any girls if my life depended on it. And I was super, super skinny. Then we get to high school, and then people are always making fun of my accent. I'm super skinny that I could pass the type of chicks that you like a Victoria's Secret model. But it's that skinny is not good on the guy. So I'm right there, and I'm really insecure. So those 12 years of suffering, being tortured, I couldn't graduate on stage from high school. I had a horrible GPA. The only 2 subjects I was good at were PE and math. So I graduate. My GPA is under 1.8. Then I go to college, same thing, 1.8 GPA. But when I get to college, I said, you know what? I'm going to prove all these fucking people that made fun of me, that humiliated me, that I'm going to be better than them. So that drive just created a driven monster out of me. And when I was 6 years old, I remember back then my dad took me to paint, because my dad's a painter. And he took me to paint in Beverly Hills from the ghetto. And I would go summer school. So every summer school, I would go with him to paint in Beverly Hills. Mm-hmm. And I would see Ferraris, I would see mansions. And I told my dad, hey, how come we don't live here? How come you don't have this red Ferrari? And he said, son, because that's not for us. So I remember that stayed here. And then all the torture in those 12 years just made me this driven individual. And when I got to college, I dropped out, and I said, you know what? I'm going to correct all the things I don't like about me. I started taking creatine, bulking up. I had pimples, so I went to somebody told me, go to the beach, get a lot of sun, and swim in the salt water. That'll fix your face. And then all of a sudden, my face is tanned, and I get rid of all the pimples. I'm buff. Don't tell me why I did it, but I grew my hair long, and I got highlights. So I had highlights, and then I started coming up with all these ideas. I got some lifeguard shorts. I got introduced to vodka, and I would buy vodka, take it to the beach over there by your other house, mm-hmm. and I would take a few vodka with Coke and whatever, and then start picking up on chicks. And then I started becoming good at getting girls. And then I got into real estate, and long story short.